Introducing the Poet Life Podcast. Go check it out today on your favorite platforms, including iTunes, Apple Music, and the website, thepoetlife.com.
Find the way.
Listen. It's Christoph Wrights of the Poet Life Podcast. I'm one half of the Poet Life Podcast. My other half, J-Rod D. Listen, 2 weeks ago, I think it's 2 weeks so far, just had a new baby born girl. And we really celebrate J-Rod D with his newborn. And we're just giving him some time. He's taking some time off. And I'm excited. I'm excited about tonight. I'm excited about our guest tonight. The gentleman that we have on tonight is King Yao. King Yao, how are you, sir?
What's up? I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. No, thank you. Thank you for coming on, man. I came across you. I think it was Button. Poetry, if I'm not mistaken. And you know which poem I'm talking about. It's the name. It's the
Yao.
Yes.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Button or not, but I know it was Instagram.
Yeah, it was iWeb, so it was National Poetry Slam.
Okay, got you. Okay, got you. Yeah. So and that one right there, I said that approach to it is heavy.
Right.
That's heavy because even the spelling of your name, I thought it was Yah.
Right. And I don't give people crap for that because I'm like, okay,
right.
Nobody knows, right? But then if I tell you how to say it,
and you still
actually, I think this is what you meant.
Right.
No.
That so it's so interesting. I don't have an African name or anything like that. It's Christoph, and matter of fact, it'll be an email. I'll send an email, and in my signature and in my email, it'll say Christoph. They'll respond and say Christopher. Like I misspelled my own name.
Right.
I don't get it.
Do you get Chris a lot instead?
So I'm cool with Chris. I'm cool, but I was purposely named Christoph to be separated apart from the Christophers.
No, you will be part of us.
It's crazy. Like literally, I'll sign my name and then someone will say, "I think you forgot the ER." What?
See, and that's like, no. I just spelled my name. Like it just baffles me. I'm like, what?
So what's your real name?
So I have so many names. So Yao means Thursday. You know what? I'm just gonna go through the whole thing. So Yao Asafo Kantanka Shamatin.
Got it.
And
I don't have it, but okay.
Right. And so Yao is a day name. So everyone born on Thursday in Ghana is named Yao. So there's like lots of Yaos. Monday is like Kofi. Tuesday is Kwabna or like Kobe. And there's like female name for it. So Yao for guys, and then like Ya for girls. And then there's Kofi, and then there's Ama, and then there's Kweku, and so it's just so many. I don't know if you've heard Kofi or
Kweku, yes.
Kweku, that's Wednesday born. So if you know a Kweku, that means they're born on Wednesday, and then or like a Kwame. Kwame is Saturday. So if you watch Captain Planet at all, that's where that came from. So every day of the week has a name associated with it, and it's male and female. So usually, like everybody has that. It's like part of your name. So my older brother, his name is Yao too. So because he was born on Thursday, so he's Papa Yao, and I'm Nana Yao.
Wow.
Right. So it's just.
I love it.
And it's funny because my mom said all of us would have been Yao because the C-section that she used to get C-sections, and it was always on Thursday. So my older brother went on Thursday, me was on Thursday, but then something happened and they changed her appointment or something like that.
Wow.
And so it was on Tuesday, instead of Thursday. So my little brother is Kwabna or Kobe or Kobe. Everybody else a different way to say it.
So that's always been the history of folks in Ghana. That's
Ghana.
been the
Yes,
wow.
like Ghana, like the Akan clan or tribe has that a lot, but then the other tribes do have their own spellings. So, like my tribe, the Akan, we do it YAW. The Ewe tribe, which is also in Togo and other West African countries, they spell it YAO because their alphabet, right? So their alphabet is different from our alphabet.
I see.
But, we pronounce things differently. So yeah, like when I say my name is Yao, they'll probably ask in class, oh, is it YAO or YAW? Because they know that other tribes have it too.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So all right. Are you originally from Ghana?
Yes.
Okay.
Ghana, all of me, my whole family, we are pure Ghanaian. Pure.
Really? Mm-hmm. So your nuclear family came together at once, or?
So my mom migrated,
Gotcha.
and then my dad, and then they like filed for us. It took like 5 years to file. When it was ready for us to come, my older brother was already 18, so he was not able to migrate with us. So me and my little brother migrated, and my older brother still hasn't been able to come. It's been
really
13 years. It's crazy.
Wow. Right? So he's still there?
Yeah, he's still in Ghana. He got a job in Dubai, so now he lives in Dubai. But yeah, he's not been able to come here. It's just they were like, sorry, you're above, you're 18 and above, so we can't file. They can't file for you as a child, I guess.
Wow.
Right.
Can he come over individually, I guess?
No,
on his own? No,
he's gonna have to like do the whole visa thing and come to like it's just hard.
Wow. Yeah. How is he with just knowing that? Like, is it hard for him?
I've been thinking about that lately. It would have been hard for me. I don't know about him, but it would have been hard for him. I think he was just happy for us. He was just really happy for us. Like it's just weird to think about it now. Like, oh my God, we left him, but it was good that he was the oldest. If it was the middle or
right,
he had to be like, okay, I'm gonna do this for y'all. But also when we got here, we're going to school here, we're working, and he's always like, all right, I need this, I need that, and then we just go for him, like we just go for him, we send him money, because it's part of the guilt, but also like he's not here, so we can just send him. Yeah. So he was definitely enjoying because he'd be like, hey, can you send me this? And he's like, yeah.
Like, what do you say?
Yes, I love you, big bro. So. But yeah, so he's not been here.
Okay. So where did the poetry come from?
Oh man, so poetry. So I always loved like reading poems or writing that was heavy in metaphor and simile and all the poetic devices. I'm like, wow, that's so dope. Like
in Ghana as well.
In Ghana, yeah. This is from Ghana. Like I'll be reading cards, and stuff, or I would like, I was heavy on performance too. So at church, the memory, like Bible verses, all that, I was like performing, but I wasn't writing. So I was more of like a performer first. And then when I migrated to the US, I did. Oh, I remember like we had like Mr. Teen Ghana, Mr. High School Ghana. I was in all of it. I did poetry for my talent show, but we usually recite other people's poems, because it's more so about learning about what they said and then how to bring it to life. So that's what we did a lot. And then when I migrated, I joined the speech and debate team at my college, and they do interpretation events. So there's like prose, drama, poetry. I joined. I like poetry. I did poetry in college speech or college college speech. The event poetry is kind of different because you also have to interpret other people's poems, right? You have to pick a theme, interpret other people's poems, and just perform it, right? So that's how I learned about spoken word, because we had to read poems, we had to look on YouTube for poems that are about our topics, right? So I remember my topic freshman year was about African immigrants, or like immigration in general. So I had to like look up poems about immigration. That's how I got into Deaf Poetry Jam.
Yeah.
Was all the poems. Like I knew all the poems on there. I still know all the poems on there. It's crazy. I can like recite those poems.
Wow.
That's where I knew about Shihan.
Right.
And all those people. It was like so many people, right? And then so I did that for 4 years, and then I coached it for 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
And after college, I did grad school. After grad school, I migrated. Is that a migration? I guess, yeah, it's a migration, maybe.
Yeah.
I moved from Iowa to Los Angeles.
Okay.
Right. So I was here, and then I was like, let me go check out some poetry events, because I was like, I knew the people that were at the venue at the poetry lounge. I knew of them. So I knew their poems, and I just wanted to go, So I went there, watched, and then Keto. I don't know if you know Keto Fortune.
Yes.
Keto Fortune did a poem. I forgot the title of the poem, but it's just fire. It's somebody called Black People Stupid, and he just like does a whole transformer. It was just good. Anyway, after that, I was like, I can do this. I can do this. So I wrote, because I used to write. I had poems on my like Facebook notes, like I have stuff there, but I didn't have any like ones that I wanted to perform.
Yeah.
And so I just that's when I wrote the Yao poem.
Really?
It was when I went
the name of it, the Yao poem?
You know what? It has so many different names. But the Yao poem also sounds good. I'm gonna add it to it. It's like Say My Name. Is the title of the poem, and then I've had others that are like the name is Yao, get it right, or Yao. But the Yao poems sound good too. I love new titles.
Yeah, totally. So at what age did you come over?
I was 18.
You were 18.
Yes.
Got you.
So I was already.
So did you start college in Ghana or when you got here?
When I got here, I went to college when I got here. We migrated to New York, and we were supposed to take the SATs or the ACTs. So we applied to some schools in New York. And then we applied to a school in Iowa, because my half-sister like already lived there. And then they called us, and they were like, you don't have to take the SATs. Just come.
Wow.
So that's how I ended up in Iowa. So yeah.
So let me ask you, when you came over, how was the transition? Right, you're 18. You're an adult. You're a grown man at 18. Right. You're a young man, but you're fully aware of everything going on, right? How was the transition between Ghana and the United States, just socially?
It was just many transitions upon many transitions, because we migrated to New York, right? And we had actually been here before, like in 3rd grade, so we just knew of what it looked like.
Mm-hmm.
We came to New York, the Bronx, and the Bronx is like a mini, like many people from everywhere.
Everything, yeah.
Right? So there was like Ghanaian community, when a Ghanaian church, like it was all Ghana. We went to visit our family in Rhode Island and Worcester, Massachusetts. Ghanaian community, it was like, wow. It was just, the only difference was the weather, because I think we came like around October, around this time actually.
Yeah.
2007. So like that was like one of the major like differences was the weather. But other than that, it was cool until we were ready to go to college. Well, let me tell you. Okay, so we got on the plane from New York to Chicago, and then we're on the plane from Chicago to Iowa, and then we're just on the plane, and then the pilot goes, so, okay, we are about to land or something like that. And we looked down, and there was no lights. It was like, it was going, there'll be like one light, and then it's going, there's one light, and we looked at each other, and we were just like, what is happening? And it was a very small plane too. Like it has like, you know, I don't know if you know those small planes. It's just like
Right.
2 or something like that. Anyway, we got to the airport, Cedar Rapids Airport. I would never forget this. There was nobody. There was nobody at the airport except the people getting off the plane, and then the person that was like meeting us from the college. It was. I was like, no, that's a shock, you know. And then we got to the place, and it was like, whoa, like this is a lot of white people. It was so different. It was just so. It was a lot of white people, like everywhere. Like my college was 96% white, and then 4% mixed, you know. And so, and people will ask me so many weird questions, right? You know, they'll be like, they were asking the whole, you know, have you seen a lion before? Have you killed a lion before? Do you live on trees? Like all those questions.
Oh my God.
Were real. And then they'll ask the question, so like, what is the main difference between, like this question actually, what is the main difference between Ghana and the US? And I'll just be like, white people. And they always die. I was like, it's true. Like that is the main difference. It's like it's black people and it's white people. Like,
right.
You know, so
wow. Let me ask you about education though. How about that difference? Right? Because is there a big difference? Like where you like excelling because education was so high priority in Ghana?
It is high priority, and it's like it brings back all these memories. So you have to be like super smart in order to get into college. Like other than that, you're gonna have to pay more money, or because there's not as many colleges as there are here, and there are no junior colleges, right? You either get into the Yale adjacents, or you wait another year and try again, you know.
Wow.
And we didn't take the SATs or the ACTs, but our exams was like the whole of West Africa takes the same exam, and it's like everything you've learned specifically from freshman year of high school to senior year of high school, every single thing. There was like 10 different subjects. Like it was just crazy. Like I thought it was like the SATs because I looked at the SAT questions, but it's not. It's just like specific things. You're just like, well, but what if my teacher never taught me this? What if this was never in our textbook? Like it was ridiculous, you know. And it happens. Some teachers were better than others. Some teachers would give better examples than others. And so it's like if you're in a school that doesn't have great teachers, you get affected by the exam, you know, unless you're like naturally, you know, smart. But it is totally different as far as like high school. College, I didn't go to college in Ghana, so I don't necessarily know what the college classes are like.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, it was difficult for us because we were in classes where there was about 400 people in the class, and whether we sat in front or in the back, we couldn't understand what the heck, you know, professor was saying, you know, and because and people would think English was like we were just learning English, but we knew English. We learned English since we were kids, you know, just like everybody else. But it's just a different way of saying things, and you know, different ways of pronouncing things, and the slurring of different words and different syllables. And so we're just like, la, da, 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 da. I'm like, this is English. We know English. So I could not, like, I felt every other international student that was there that didn't know English firsthand because we were having trouble. Like, my brothers had to bring in a tape recorder, like a tape recorder, so we can listen to it after class. Wow. So we go to class twice, right?
Yeah.
Right? Be able to understand what they were saying, so you can like retake your notes and all that. It was just, you know, so that was hard the first year, and then after that, once I got friends and you know people to talk to, and then it helped. I was on the speech and debate team too, so I was always talking and always listening to different accents, right? And that helped. But that was a slap in the face because we didn't learn anything about research papers,
Right.
nothing. It was all just like, we call it chew and pour or like busy kind of work. We didn't learn any of that. So freshman year,
Yeah.
it was bad. It was bad. But we
Yeah.
picked up because the parents are home and they brought you to the United States to come do something. So you better get your 3.0. And
wow. Yeah, no, but even people from here, like myself, freshman year, I brought a tape recorder as well. Because high school, but when you got to college, it was just like talk, lecture, and I'm a hands-on learner, and I didn't really take good notes. You know what I mean? I just wasn't, I'm like, all right, what do you, so I took the tape recorder and I was able to bring it back and kind of take my notes that way. But, yeah, no, I get it. I completely understand, man. Now, so in college, right? What was the name of your university?
University of Northern Iowa.
Northern Iowa. Gotcha.
Northern
Iowa, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So where did poetry play a part?
In college?
Yeah.
So
in college.
Okay. I did poetry while I was on the speech team.
Really? I incorporated it into your speeches.
Yes. It was just poems. Like my senior year poem program that I did was about guns, and so I found poems about guns, different kind of poems. So we don't use just one type of poem. If you use just one type of poem, people will be like, right. So you need something that's like historical, contemporary, spoken word, like civil rights movement poems that like are not. So we're supposed to perform poems that are meant to be read, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're supposed to like interpret it and bring it out and bring the the humanity out, and that's what we did a lot. So we had to work a lot on not just the poem, but like the performance of the poem, and so like the different characters. It was basically like taking acting class with poetry.
Really?
Yes, yeah. It's amazing because you have to do different characters. So I remember I played a gun because I found a poem where somebody was the gun. So I had a poem where like I was the gun. I played a poem with like an old lady who like had a gun and was like, I need my gun, for like all the violence around. I had a character, a poem about a child soldier who had to witness his mother being shot, being shot, right? So I had to play that character too, right? So you have to play them back to back to back to back. It's like scenes, back to back to back to back, and then you have a climax, and then you get like 8 different poems or so, and then it becomes like one whole thing. So yeah, it's fun, but it taught me how to perform poetry, how to perform in general, but how to perform poetry. Just because I listened and I learned different types of poems, different cadences, different generations of poets, right? And so that helped me to be able to grasp poetry that way. So that's where poetry came from. I mean, I got second in the nation my senior year with it. I just loved it. I was like, I just loved it. And so after that, when I was in grad school, my coach was like, we should start an open mic so we can do stuff. And then we started an open mic, and then I started writing just poems that I actually haven't seen in like years because my Facebook got, booted or hacked. So yeah, so that's, we started doing open mics. And then I remember I did a poem, and then somebody walked up to me and was like, you don't belong here. You need to like move and go somewhere. Like he was like, you need to like, you belong somewhere. I remember it so well. I was just like,
basically, you need to do something with this.
Right. And so and then as I was doing it, people were like, yo, you move to New York or LA, da, da, da. And then I just did it. I told my family I'm moving to LA. Everybody thought it was a joke. And then it wasn't. I was like, I'm in LA, and then
You're moving to LA to do what?
to do acting. So I, acting is like my
Right.
major, right? So even though
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wasn't a theater major or anything, but I've always liked to perform. So my in grad school, my major was in communication and performance. Performance. So I studied a lot of performance technique, the different types, all that. So
let me ask you about your parents and your choice for a major. How was their response? Because we hear the story all the time.
Right.
People from Africa all the time will tell that story when they say, I want my major to be this, that when it's not medicine or engineering or whatever. What was their response?
So actually, we all chose things that they were like, oh, okay. So I was a biology major, right? Because I loved science, and my dad.
You started biology.
Biology, yeah. I love science. My dad was like, "Oh my God, you love science? You should go to pharmacy school and be a pharmacist, and I'll buy
it is, right there
for you." So it was in my head, like, okay, I got to do this for daddy,
Right.
And then I got to college, and I was like, okay, I'm a bio major, but I also want to do like communication, but I like acting, but I also want to do French. They were like, what do you want to do? I remember both of them on the phone. Like they were like, yo, crowd, what do you want to do? I was like, I just, I remember I went to my advisor and they looked through everything, they tried to help me, and they were like, congratulations, you're the only student I've not been able to help. I was like, you didn't do your job. Like, give me your paycheck. What? And so yeah, that was frustrating. That was very frustrating because I was like, I want to help people. So I'm doing science and maybe I'm gonna be a doctor or a nurse, but I just want to help people. But in my head, helping people was just like, like being a doctor. I don't know why. A doctor, law school, all that. And then I think she mentioned, but you're on the speech and debate team, so maybe you can like become like a speech teacher, a speech coach. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm not good at it. I can do it. I can't. I remember like shutting it down, and he was like, I'm like, it's just like an extra activity. I want to help people, but they gotta be science, lawyer, biology.
Right.
Right. I think they were over me. I think they were probably just like, you know what?
Just do something.
Just do something, right? So I was a biology major, biology and French, and then in grad school, I chose communication and performance, just because I was on the speech and debate team, and my track record and all that helped me. So being on the speech and debate team definitely like is a big part of where I am, like easily, because everybody looks at your resume and they see the kind of speeches that you wrote and did and like how you ranked in the nation, all that. It's, so they gave me a class to teach.
Wow.
Like, what? They're like, yes, you're going to be teaching a college class, public speaking.
Wow. While you were there?
Yes, in grad school, yeah. So, yeah. So wow. I taught part of my assistantship. So I got full scholarship.
Nice.
So part of my assistantship was to teach a class and then coach the speech team. So I did that for 2 years. And so that's when I first started teaching, and yeah.
Wow.
I know, wow. Like, I'm slowly like
migrating. Right. So your journey has already begun. Wow. Right. Wow. So you were showing improving while you were going through.
Yes, absolutely. Trying everything. I was in every student club and organization. I was everywhere. I was in BSU, African Student Union. I was in International Student Promoters. We did tours. I was in French club. I was everywhere because I was like, I'm trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
So, like, let's do this,
Wow. Okay. Oh, I love it, man. That's good. That's good. All right. So we're in college. We're in grad school,
Right.
and are you writing more?
So in grad school, I'm reading more,
Okay.
reading more, and of course writing more because grad school. But it wasn't like I took a poetry class because they were like take an elective, and then I took a poetry class, and I think that helped me a lot with because I my writing is like free writing is like narrative, it's like
Right.
storytelling. Let me tell you this story, and then I'll add metaphors.
Right. But the techniques and all
Right.
of that. Yeah.
Right. So, wait, what was the question again? Sorry, I got grad school. I'm writing more. Right.
Yes.
Writing more. So I started writing a lot in that class. Like I wrote so many poems in that class, so many different styles. We used to critique each other, and I saw how people were writing their poems. I was like, oh, okay,
Mhm.
right. And it didn't feel like I learned a lot, but then when I'm writing, I remember like specific stuff that we learned in class, and
Mhm.
always, 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 always helps. So
Wow.
I took one poetry class, and I also think that coaching, I mean, being on the speech team for 4 years and like reading poems upon poems, people buy me gifts and it would be like poetry books because they knew I liked it and I was on the team and just reading and now I coached for coaching for 5 years and just reading, not just for college, but I did it for college, high school, and now I do it for middle school and elementary school. So the different types of poems that you read just also helps you. So
Yeah.
and I don't like reading. Like I'm just like, oh my god, but because I'm doing it. Like everybody needs to read because that's how you become a better writer. I was
Yeah.
fortunate to be in an organization where I had to read in order to be like, coach, this is the poem that I like, or student, check out this poem that I read. So that's how I've been reading,
Got
and
it.
I still coach, and so I still
Yeah.
read.
So if it weren't for the debate team, the public speaking classes, where do you think you'd be in your poetry career? Like, on what level do you think you would be on?
I think that that's a good question.
Do you think you would have figured it out?
I think I would have figured it out because it was calling me. Like, I was like, dude, when I joined Speech and Bed, I was like, this is exactly what I've been looking for since I was in Ghana. Like, I was like, I need something. And when I joined speech, like if poetry folk did speech, they would love it. It's just amazing. Like the way the craft is. But I would have found something. I would have, because I was looking for, like, I went to do debate and I was like, this is not it. And then speech was across the room and they were like, you want to come try? And then that was it, But I know I would have found spoken word. I would have found it somehow because I didn't know about it.
Right.
I would have easily found it because I've always been drawn to like that. Like when I saw spoken word, I was like, oh my God, like this is it. Like at church when I, memorize a poem and go say, like, it was always, I'll be like, I'll do it. Like, that's me, always doing it. In high school, middle school, always doing some sort of, like reciting.
Right.
And so I know deep in my heart that I would have found it or I would have created something.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So where are we now? Right. Like, well, let me ask you, what year was the Yao poem?
The Yao poem was.
And what was the situation? You said eye whips, right?
Yeah. So the Yao poem was my first slam. My first slam was at iWhips, 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was that. My friend Jaman Hill was like, "Let's go to iWhips." Like, I've only seen it online, so I was like, but he knew. So Jaman Hill did speech and debate too, so he knew that I had performed a lot, like lots of poems. I actually judged him for like 2 years, so he was like, you should try it. He said, like, y'all just come. And I was like, I don't know how it works. And then they were like 4-minute poem, 1-minute poem, 2-minute poem, and a 3-minute poem. I was like, what? So I just like, okay, I guess I'll do it. So I like consolidated some of my poems and I just ran the Yao poem, and that was, and then I made it finals. And then I made it. I was like, what? And then I did the Yao poem because. So the Yao poem is what got me into finals too. Like it was the last round, and I was like, all right, this is it. I'm just gonna do this poem. Because my first round I had a 4, like it was this like, and then I went 1-1-1. I was like, let me just do this poem, right? Like it was new, and I didn't really time it, but you know how they were like time in, and somebody stop, like people were just, it was good. The first time I did it there, it was like, whoa, like it felt good. I felt good. The room felt good. Like it was just, I think it was different for the audience.
Yeah.
Really. So it was it was nice. And then I was in the room with folks that I had seen like on YouTube. Like
right.
Like, Megan Falley, like I was like in the room with all these people. So it was like nice and tense, but I love competition. Like the harder my competition is, like the harder like I'm like, oh, let's go,
Yeah.
So even in speech and debate, when I was in a round with folks that were like freshmen or just starting, that's when I don't make it to finals. I'll be like, really? When I'm in a round with like heavy hit, what we call heavy hitters in speech and debate, I always like, okay, game on. And then I think it brings some sort of passion out. But
you play up to your competition.
I do. I really do. I really do. So that was good for me because it was like, and everybody saw my list. I remember Jaman too saw my list, and everybody was like, "Ooh, like this person, is that person." I was like, I don't know anybody,
Right.
But let's go have fun. Let's go compete.
So are you still eating off that poem, man? Are they still calling you for it?
Which poem? Yao?
The Yao poem.
I know that like that's not the poem that's that's been getting me food.
Really?
No, it's actually Ancestral Ghosts. I don't know if you've seen that, but that
I have not. What's it about?
It's I didn't edit this poem, but anyway, it's a poem about it's based on my experience in the US, especially in college, and it's like the whole like you're not black enough thing, and it's like so it's from everybody. So like I'm talking about my experience about how I said something, and it was like I don't know, I don't remember what I said, but it was, I can say like black, right? And then this white girl came up to me, and then she was like, "But I thought you were like this," So it's like so many people come up and like ask those questions, and then I was getting it from black people that lived in America too, African Americans. And so I was just like, So in the poem, I talk about both sides, and I was like, I don't know what to do. So then I go back in time. I I go back on the slave ship. It's like so dramatic. I go back on the slave ship. So I'm on the slave ship, and then like the ancestral ghosts from like the Atlantic, pull me back to like 1912 or something, and then it goes to like different warriors, black African warriors, and then I just like talk to them and I ask them, and then they ship me to the other person, and I go from like one to the other, and then I talk about how like here like they yes there are differences, right? But it's like when the police, I have this line that's like when the New York police shot Amadou Diallo, like they shot him like 41 times or something like that, and I'm like, they were shooting at his blackness, not his accent, right? So it's like, yes, we're different, but then like when it comes to like the issues and the issues we're all facing, like it's us, So that's kind of what like the moral of the poem was. I wrote this poem when I was competing at the Poetry Lounge, and I didn't know you couldn't repeat poems, but I made it to semifinals, and they were like, "You can't repeat poems." I wrote it like I heard about it 2 days ago, 2 days before. So I was like, "Oh my god!" And then I had this story in my head for so long, like so long in my head, and I just like wrote it down. And and like all night, I spent like an all night and just writing, and because I had to like memorize it, because I like memorizing poems, and and that's a poem. I haven't edited it since. There's some like things I have to word in, I have to change. I just did it, and people loved it, and like people loved it. I was like, whoa! Places that were not supposed to be funny, people were laughing. I was on stage like, what is going on? I was literally like, what's going on? Nobody saw it coming. I didn't see it coming. I was like, this is a new poem. Like I just did it, and then I think I did it at another tournament, and then it got online, and that's what like I get colleges would like send me emails asking about that, or someone's like some school's advisor, some BSU's advisor. I think they surprised their students because their Black Student Union and their African Student Union had like a conference, and they used my poem as like a segue for discussion. And I guess like it was very needed in their community, and the advisor was proud. So the advisor surprised them with me.
Wow.
And like how you come over. I was like, and they didn't know, and I didn't know, and they were like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "Hey." So yeah. So it's been like that. That is the poem, and then that and accent. Accent also has been very like received well, especially in the African community that live here. It's like, oh my god, like it's not just Africans, it's just everybody that lives here from another country has like experienced something along those lines, just like your accent being thick, or you have to like code switch, for like everybody else's convenience. And it's like,
that this entire time I mixed up accent in the Yao poem. I'm talking about the accent poem.
You're talking about accent?
Yes. So I'm on the wrong poem. So I'm talking about accent.
Accent. Oh yeah, accent has been good because it was on Right About Now, and that
Right
got
About
me
Now.
Yeah,
Okay.
that got me a lot of jobs. Actually, it's so crazy how those videos get you jobs, because if they go viral, somebody's like, "Oh my god, bring this person to my school." But accent has been good too, because especially Button just posted it again.
Got it.
And it just went viral again, and I got so many. It's good because you get booked, you get followers, and then the followers know like people, and so like when they like find something, they always send it to me, and it's just one big whole thing that everybody needs to capitalize on. Like I know social media is like right, but that's how I've been eating. Like a lot of people have found me online. Like that's how I'm eating. It's just online presence, online content. Like the more content you produce, the more people are like, oh, I want to see this person again. So
yeah, I can tell that you are in tune with it. You do quite well with your content. Yeah.
I try. I mean, I like to perform, so like it's like everything I love. I'm like, so dancing, like everything, modeling, all that.
So I like how you embrace your fashion from home, right? Like, so tell me about tell me about the shirt. Did you design that, or did you?
This one, no. My sister.
Okay, really?
Yeah. My sister does a lot of the designing and the sewing, and she's dope. And she didn't even go to school for it. She went to school for pre-med. and now she's sewing, she's cooking. I'm like, if you had gone to school for this, but it's like it's not. It's just it just makes me so mad. It's like, come on,
right?
hope we don't do this to our kids. But I'm not gonna do that.
I'm
You
not
know,
doing it either.
my sister is saying it too. It's like if we did the things that we loved as kids,
As kids, oh my gosh.
like I'm out here coaching like folks that are like 10, 11 poetry and stuff, and they're writing, and I'm just like, these people are about to be so smart,
Right.
And just, you know, just ridiculous, you know. But like we spend time doing all this math, that you know, all this stuff, and it's just
I know. Yeah. I have 3 daughters, 5 and under, man.
Wow.
They do the school thing, the distance learning thing, but here it's all creativity, man.
Yes.
For me, I think creativity and intelligence. Creativity is here.
Yes.
Period.
Like, you gotta go read your shit. It just comes from out inside me. You know,
right.
That's the magic.
That's the passion. That's the purpose. That's the gift that's been given to you.
And
you know what I mean?
Intelligence, because the fact that you can just do it and put things together, and that is the whole package. Like, yes, absolutely.
And see, if we can get more poets to understand, especially now, like creativity is high value now, even in the corporate world. Because one, social media is so heavy when it comes to everything, right? So poets being the wordsmiths, are should be the copywriters, the script writers, right, all of that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like the poets were writing films, and like I watched some of these, and I was like, we can do so much better. Like, oh my God.
Yes. And that's where building the poetry industry comes in, man. Like if we just know that we are more than just a poem. If we know that we're more than just a poem and a performance, then there's no more broke artist.
Right.
That thing that we embrace. Why do we embrace that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't have to be.
We're not like I have this great feeling that it's about to be.
It is.
Like it's really coming, and like I can see it. Like I can see it. I can see it.
Indeed. So what extravagant project, or what are you doing right now that is kind of outside of the poetry box?
Outside of the poetry box. Okay.
We know what the poetry box is. It's the open mic. It's the virtual open, like, you know what I mean? what projects are you working on, man?
So I am probably okay. Let me rephrase this so I don't give it away. I'm working on some projects with some agencies in like another country. So hopefully in another country, yes. So hopefully I can get on the stage and stuff, and get more, because I don't have like a lot of reels and stuff, and it's hard to get good movies where you can have good reels here in LA, or like, because so if you get if I get a good stage presence in a different place, or in a movie that's really good, but it's not in Hollywood, that's gonna make me look good when I auditions. So that's what I'm working on. I'm working on my book. When I say working on my book, it's like it's all here.
Yeah, I get it.
It's all here. I have like I just realized like I have all the poems. I have all the poems for this, but it's not just going to be poems. I'm trying to do like in speech and debate, we have this event called Program of Oral Interpretation, and it's a combination of just all the genres, right? So I'm trying to write narrative and then like intersplice it with poems and then prose, and then like just a bunch of different because I'm trying to figure out how to make it, because I don't like reading, so I'm trying to make it in a way that I wanted to like have a book look like, you know, because I wanted to read. I wanted to read Harry Potter. I wanted to read Goosebumps, but I'll read. I'll just be like, page 20 something.
Right.
Like, you know, so yeah, that's what I'm working on. The title right now, which will probably change, is called Coming to America.
Nice.
So it's gonna be poems on like migrating to America, like immigration, all that. I just dreamt about my cover.
Nice.
I just dreamt about my cover, and I think I'm gonna make it like a passport. And then we'll have like certain things in there that have to do with like, you know, migration. So like you have a passport. You know, anyway, I was like, oh my God, this is, you know, because I'm like, I see a lot of people's, you know, book covers, and everybody's is so unique to the, you know, to the story, and so you know, and I feel like that's so important. But when I was like, you know, I didn't know what it would be. I woke up and I was like, oh my God. So I think that's it. I think I'll make it like a passport.
Yeah. So let me ask you. So how does a performance poet write in a way that readers understand? I want to say, is it understand? I mean, they can understand it, but interpret it in the way that you want them to interpret it.
Whew, that's good. That's good.
You know,
good. That's good. So spoken word poems on like performance poems on page, I have two versions of all of my poems. I have a version of them as like a performance poem, and then that's the page poem.
Man, so that's the first time I've heard a poet say that.
I had to, because I was like, this is too, like, you know, okay, I think this is what happened. Because I did speech, and most of what we did was performing poems that were not meant to be performed, like poems that are meant to be read. That made me like, you know, like most of my writing of friends was like performing things that was like not meant to be read. And so I have both, because like I joined, you know, the poetry community, and I learned quick how to write, you know, performance poems.
Yeah.
And it, you know, I think some of the best spoken word poems is a combination of a page poem and a performance poem.
Yes.
Right. And then
it's not super rhymey. It's not like super rhythmic, you know, it's more conversational anyway.
Right. And it's still, all of the elements are still there, you know. So yeah, anyway, I have a page poem, and then I have a performance poem, because there's some things that I would say and do that like don't need to be in there, right? Some things that your body can show on stage, but doesn't need to be on paper, right? And so yeah, but page poems make your spoken word even better, because you're able to create you know, like even better imagery, like just much better imagery. When we're doing spoken word, we just get lazy and we just go with the go-tos.
Because you know that you can add your body.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But when we take that out, I feel like most like spoken word poets need to start writing as page poets.
Wow.
And that's just going to change everything, because now, and I think that's the problem with why people are saying all the poems sound the same.
Right.
Is because we're just looking at a spoken word style, and this is how I'm gonna go. And we're like, even though the words are different, subconsciously we're writing the same too. Because if you write in the cadence, that's, you know, it's all that, like that's the poem. You know, the cadence is like much of the poem. You know, but we're all we're doing is changing the words. You know, but if we start writing like page poems and trying different styles, that's going to change everything, and it's actually going to help folks be more unique too. I just started doing a lot, so you know, I'm on the slam team for San Diego, so you know, me, Rudy, Anita, Rashida, and Miael, you know, so we're on the team, and we still meet like, you know, every 2 weeks, We talk about, Rudy does a good job of like teaching you the different techniques and styles. So we did like a persona, like poem seminar, and then everybody writes, a persona poem, right? And so that's, I'm just now doing most of it since grad school. And it just is, it's amazing.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, if a poet cannot find a coach, right? If for whatever reason there's just not a coach in their area or whatever, would you suggest that they take a acting class, a improv class for performance to beef up their performance?
Yes, improv class for sure.
Yes.
Improv would teach you everything. Like it's just everything. Like we need improv classes for everything. Everything. Spoken word too, because we're on stage all the time. Things happen. You forget your poem. You got to figure something out, right?
Wow.
And all the different exercises that you do in improv too can give you ideas of how to write in a style that nobody writes. Because the games, the improv games are so diverse and it's so different that you can write a poem based on notes. So
yeah, I took an improv class and had an absolute ball.
Did you?
It was like adult recess.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, yo, what is this? Like,
right. Absolutely.
Now, parts of it, I just could not step outside of myself. Like the was it screaming, like starting low, but then going higher, but like with anger to the level to where you're supposed to start crying.
And then were you all in it?
I just, I couldn't. It was, with everybody around. I was like, I don't feel like crying. I think that was just too cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you gotta like let go. When you go to improv class, you just gotta let go.
When you get to like level class 3, 4, 5, like, I was like, okay, this is getting heavy.
Yeah, and it's
something that makes you cry. I was like, man, I don't want to go there.
I know. I don't like that either. They call it what? They call it what? Substitution. Oh my God, it's so dangerous because if you haven't healed, and you call all that trauma, which is a lot of poets do that, and
in there bawling, crying. I was like, I'm not yeah. That's because before we came onto the podcast, we were talking about performance. I think that's a huge piece that more poets should take serious.
Right.
That performance piece. Even if you're like just naturally good at performing. Right. Like I think the techniques that you learn, we were talking about that earlier, the techniques that you learn can enhance what you already know to do.
Right.
But even on the other side of it is having the wherewithal to say, okay, if I'm going to write this book, it needs to be written a little differently.
Right.
So do you add more color? Like, when it comes to the page poetry, do you add more description, more scenery? What's that look like? What's the difference?
Yes. I think with page poems, like I try to stick with like styles or like different techniques. So it's like I actually just wrote like my first extended metaphor poem, right? And that's if you're writing like an extended metaphor poem, it's just basically a page poem, which is like it's very heavy on the metaphor, and it has to be in like every line or every other line because you gotta keep the momentum, So writing in those specific styles definitely helps make it like a page poem, and then like just description, you have time, like performance poems, you usually slam time, but you have time here to just decide if you want it to be a 3-page poem or like a 5-line poem. Either way, you decide what type of imagery you're gonna have in both, and it can still work. So imagery, I think, is like really, really,
Imagery.
really big. Imagery is really, really big because some things you can just show, but like what is it? There was a poem about like like crows or something like that, and I think the performers were crows on stage, and they did so much, and it was it was amazing. It was like really, 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 really good because they were able to like show what they had on page, and then also just show us like they did a combination of both. I think if I was like coaching like an acting class or something like that, that was doing a performance poem and a page poem together, it's more interesting if you show us on stage rather than tell us.
Got
So,
it.
and it just depends. It depends. It depends on the round. It depends on who's there. Because some people love performance, and
Right.
others are just like no. But also others hide behind the performance. I've done that before. You can high score your way with a good performance. Like you can just do that, because it's usually about the writing. It is usually about the writing at competitions, performance places. But
Wow.
if somebody's writing is not really up to par, and you come and you show
And you give.
performance, you're here, and people usually think, oh, that was just a performance, but it's like I used my body to tell the poem, right? Like that is part of the poem.
Right.
Part of the poem. The performance is
Right.
part of the poem, or it is part of my poem, right? Like, and so I think it's just very, very interesting, very, very, very interesting.
Is it synonymous to a rapper that doesn't have lyrics and they're hiding behind the beat?
Yes, beat, and just aesthetic too can be
Right.
like
Right.
it's just
Yeah.
the hiding behind the beat. The beat is really good, or they have the beat is really good, and they have a really good music video, and you're like, dang,
Yeah.
music video, everybody looks good in there, and
Go with it.
right, it's a good vibe.
Right.
They have a good vibe. They just showed you all this imagery in this, and the imagery, also does the work. Like if somebody comes up with a good music video and the lyrics is like whatever, the imagery also like is part of the music. It just becomes part of it, So
Wow.
I think a combination of both
Yeah.
is always better.
How has COVID been treating you as
Uh,
far as your poetry career?
COVID, I got a lot of my poetry stuff canceled. I had an event
Yeah.
in France too that got canceled. So many things got canceled, but it's been good because I've been learning. Like we would have already gone to nationals by August,
Mhm.
and when it was canceled, it was just like we're taking our time. I've been learning. I've been learning more like of how to write and how to perform. In this time, and it's just we always complain about we don't have time to write, we don't have time to write, and
Right.
and I used the time to write about because I don't want to force it, so I just wrote about the times. I wrote about every single month. I wrote about everything that was happening. I have I did a long page poem about like living in a dystopian world, which is what it felt like um, at the beginning of COVID.
Right.
How people were fighting and all that. So like I made it like a movie. I was like, okay, this reminds me of A Quiet Place. So I just like wrote it in like in that style. And when we don't have too much to think about and we're just saying and just writing, we write about things. Like I didn't have to think about somebody's poem or spoken word. I was just like, I just want to. This is how I'm feeling. This feels like a movie. I'm gonna write it like that, you know.
Nice.
And so I have, you know, I was able to write poems in the moment because a lot of people were like, I don't want to force it, and you know, and it's okay too. You know, I rested some too, and that was good. But I used the moment because like it was, you know, the times when it was like very depressed, like depressing. A lot of people went through that. A lot of people, I think like probably 90% of people were just like, you know, I don't know what to do. And so I wasn't trying to write about something else just to write. I was like, okay, this is how I feel. Let me just write it, and then you know it heals a little bit, makes you feel better a little bit, and then you keep writing.
Right, right. Wow, man. This is good information. I really think this is going to help a lot of people, especially the biggest thing that I got was the fact that you said, I'm a performance poet, I'm writing a book, but I also, so the poems that I performed, I also have a version of it that's page poetry.
Right.
That's yeah, I think that's going to ring a bell in some poets' heads, man. So, like
Yeah,
really, because
yeah.
I'm sure you know they'll probably just take their poem and put it
Yeah.
on paper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right, and it's like some of the things, you know, like there'll be lines in my performance poem that I'll add just because it worked. Like I'm like, okay, pop culture, this works right now. If I use this, this will be so funny. People will laugh. I'll get my laugh. You know, like something that I can use for today. But if you're trying to write something that people are supposed to read for like forever,
right.
right? It's got to be timeless. And so whatever
Ah,
you use has to be like, you know, yeah, like I will, you know, I will put, you know, I'll put Rosa Parks in my poem,
mhm.
right? But I was gonna use Miley Cyrus as the other example, but I was like, you know, it's just like I gotta use somebody that is like timeless when it comes to like the culture of my poems, you know.
Got it. Got it. That's good, man.
But I can, but then I can make fun of my, you know, Miley Cyrus for like taking the culture or something like that. So I can do
Right,
that on stage, but
right.
by putting that in the book is like, who's like
She's
years
not.
later.
She's not worthy to be in the book. She's
Right,
just
exactly.
yeah, yeah. For this moment, yeah, sure, yeah,
Right, right. So
I get it. Well, that's revelation. Choose wisely when writing, when writing for the moment, and when writing on paper.
for timelessness, right?
Yes, for timelessness.
Right.
Man, that's a bar right there, man. That's a quote right there, bro. Like that's good information, man. I think that'll help a lot of people. And I think the one of the other big things is always learn, keep
Yes.
learning. You know, especially during this time, don't sit and binge watch TV for hours
Right.
and you haven't given that same or more amount of time on your craft.
Right. Exactly. And if you
Yeah.
even if you're gonna do it, make sure like you find a way to connect it to your craft. Like
Mm,
I was just so like, oh, I'm tired of writing, and I watched this like TV show called like Nun, like Warrior Nun, or something like that, you know. And it had to do with the poem, like you know that I was like trying to write, but I couldn't write. I was like, oh, let me watch something that's like related to it. I watched the whole season, and I was like, oh, I think I know how I want to, you know, like have this poem be structured because sometimes you can just use stories, folklore, you know, movies, and see, okay, this movie was structured like this. Let me see if I structure my poem this way, and it'll just make it easier, you know. It's just
that's new for me.
I do
That's
that.
new.
It's fun. It's good. It's really good.
Watch
Like,
TV with a purpose.
yes, Like definitely with a purpose. Always looking for something. Always listening for something. Always listening for something because there is, like our magic, our power is in the atmosphere. It's in the air, right? It's always happening. So you just always gotta be listening. Listening.
That's new because I don't watch TV, but when I do, I watch 2 hours of TV a week, right? And the reason I watch it is because it's a time where I need mindless activity, like
Right.
when I'm just like done. You know what I mean? From my 9 to 5, from my business, from
Right.
my kids. And I
Right.
just need to sit there and watch 2 hours of TV while I eat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I didn't, man, that's good. Well, he just
It helps. It helps. It really does.
that's good stuff. Have you seen the movie Finding Forrester?
No.
Sean Connery, and then there's an African American boy, um, uh, young African American boys in the hood, right? And thought basketball was the way to kind of get out, but came to find out that he was a great writer.
Okay.
Yeah, and Sean Connery was this hidden legend when it comes to writing. And so this young black boy went to I think he got into a great school or something like that. But Sean Connery was his neighbor, but never came out the house, because I think it's like his wife died, and after she died, he just never came out the house or something like that. But come to find out, they crossed paths some way, and Sean Connery was the person that's on the walls of the school because of his writing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And ultimately became his mentor with his writing. It's an amazing movie. Finding Forrester. Forrester, Sean Connery's last name, and he's the iconic writer.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, so he's the one that found Forrester or whatever. But that right there,
wow,
will have you with a pen in your hand. If you ever have writer's block, and I really don't believe in writer's block. It's just you need to go read a book and go live some more. But yeah, when you get a chance, I don't even know where you could find it. When I did watch it, it was on VHS. So it's you know what I mean? Right. So, but it might even be on YouTube. I don't know. But check that out, man. Look, King Yao, man, I appreciate you coming through on the Poet Life podcast, man. What made you choose King?
You know what? It's just I don't know.
I see the pictures with the
people call me King every time I performed, or like they saw me. I don't know. So I was like, okay. It's just,
okay. Yeah. I love how you're embracing your culture and allowing it to allow you to stand out.
Right. Thank you.
I mean, you already have the skill, right? So you have the skill, and now you're giving the appearance and the presentation to go with it. So it works really well, man. And I think it's genius, bro. So keep doing what you're doing, man. Yeah, most definitely. As a matter of fact, we talk about this all the time. We're more than just poetry, right? Mm-hmm. And so I try to channel that in everything that I do. So, I want to purpose these episodes or repurpose these episodes and reach out to some universities and take these topics and these conversations that we're having and turn them into workshops, right? Yeah, because I think the most recent episode that we had, I think I was talking to Anita D. Yeah. And hers is out now. Her episode is out. Fire episode. Awesome.
Thanks,
Um,
Doc.
but we were talking about doing more with the poems that we have. You
Yeah,
know? Yeah.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And so like because you just you can do so much more with them, you know?
Mhm.
Topic and write a book towards it, or you can go to different organizations and related to
What
you
they're
know,
doing, right,
that
right.
topic, right, whatever that cause might be, with that
Yeah,
organization. You can say, hey, I have this poem, do you think it will work with your members or your audience for your
right,
conference, whatever
right,
it might be, right?
right.
um, yeah, I just want to give more life to these episodes. We just recently added the blog side of the episode, so our
Okay,
episodes are now in blog form as well. So not
okay,
everybody wants to watch or listen; they would rather read. So so we have a three-dimensional podcast, and just trying to live out what we're talking about.
right, right, right,
You know what I
right.
mean? So, yeah, man, I just want to say thank you, man. I don't want to take up your whole Friday night. I know you got some more learning and some more, writing to do.
Right, and resting.
Indeed, most definitely, so important, man. Because that's what, look, you were resting, and that's where the book, the cover of your book came from, in your rest.
That's it. And that's it. That's exactly
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Definitely, man. So look, man, I really appreciate you. Everybody go check out King Yah _. That's KINGYAW _. It's the Poet Life Podcast. Everybody, you'll have a good weekend. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'll talk to you, all right?
All right. Later.
All right.
Introducing the Poet Life Podcast. Go check it out today on your favorite platforms, including iTunes, Apple Music, and the website, thepoetlife.com.
Find a way, find a way. Ain't get no time now.